Hi everyone. In response to Lydia's question in our Calculus 1 class on the last two questions on homework 4, which is from sections 2.4 and 2.5. So the first one of these is problem 18 on the homework. It says determine the limit as x approaches the given x coordinate and the continuity of the function at that x coordinate. So the limit as x approaches minus 13 pi divided by 4 the cosine of 2x minus the cosine of 2x. Okay, so the first thing you want to think about when you evaluate this limit is cosine itself is a continuous function. So we have a composition of functions which allows us to bring the limit inside the cosine here and evaluate the limit of this guy. So as x goes to minus 13 pi over 4, 2x is minus 26 pi over 4, or minus 13 pi over 2. Okay, so this part is minus 13 pi over 2. Then I have minus the cosine, the limit again of the cosine of this. So because this cosine is also continuous, you can bring the limit inside here. And then this becomes minus 13 pi over 2 as well. So the cosine of minus 13 pi over 2. So you can think about that angle, right? So that minus 13 pi over 2, if you're going backwards from the positive x-axis to get a negative angle, if you go all the way around, you're going to get minus 2 pi, right? If you keep going around, you're going to get minus 4 pi, which is 8 pi over 2. If you keep going around, you're going to get minus 6 pi, right? Which is minus 12 pi over 2. And if I go one more pi over 2, I'm down, pointing down the negative y-axis, so I'm at minus 13 pi over 2, and we know the cosine of that is 0. So this piece is minus 0. Then I have this is minus 13 pi over 2. So again, I have the cosine of minus 13 pi over 2, minus 0, so it's just the cosine of minus 13 pi over 2. So that becomes 0. So this whole thing is just 0. So let's plug in 0. Okay. Now I didn't write that out. I kind of spoke it through for you. You should try to write that out and see how that all works. Okay, so we want to know, is that continuous at x equals minus 13 pi over 4? So certainly it is. I mean, the problem, cosine is a continuous function everywhere. 2x is continuous, cosine of 2x is continuous, so I'm taking the cosine of a continuous function, which is itself, cosine itself is continuous. So a composition of functions of a continuous function of a continuous function is certainly continuous. So, yes. All right. So let's go forward to the last problem. So now we want to find this following limit. Is the function continuous, again, at the point being approached? So the limit as t approaches 0 of pi over 11 minus 2 times the secant of t, all under the square root. So the only place we have t is actually in the secant of t. So secant of t is 1 over cosine of t, right? So 1 over cosine of t. As t approaches 0, and again, because the cosine itself is continuous, I kind of skipped past that on this one. Cosine here is continuous. I'm bringing the limit inside. So I have a composition of functions where the outside function cosine is continuous, so that allows you to bring the limit inside these parentheses. So that's why I jumped in here. And the square root is a continuous function for where it's where it is defined, so you can bring the limit inside there as well. Okay, limit of a constant is the constant, so I just have to worry about this secant of t, which is 1 over cosine of t. So cosine of 0 is 1. So 1 over the cosine of 0 is 1 over 1, so it's 1. So inside this square root, I just get 11 minus 2 times 1, so 11 minus 2, which is 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. So this becomes pi over 3. And then the cosine of pi over 3, that's the cosine of 60 degrees. So the cosine of pi over 3 Everyone should know that, either from the unit circle or hopefully understanding the first quadrant and understanding where everything is positive or negative. But everything's positive in the first quadrant, so the cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. So this whole thing boils down to being able to bring the limit inside these, evaluate this, bringing the limit further inside the square root, because that's also continuous, and then taking the cosine of that answer. Cosine of pi over 3, cosine of 60 degrees is 1/2. So it says type an exact answer. Using radicals is needed, so it's 1/2. I'll just type in 1/2. And check the answer. And we got it. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, I just tried to explain it because I want you to try and write that out and see how every piece of that works. But hopefully if you just slow me down and think through it, you can do that.